Welcome to position of the week 12. This one's taking from the World Cup. White is Jorden van Foreest and black is Druska. If I botch that name up, it is not meant to be fenced. So here this is quite a deep position. So if you want to sort of try to calculate far ahead, this is a good chance to stop the video. Otherwise, I'm just going to explain the position and how it works and why white is better. So the first thing we notice in this position is that the knight on c3 is attacked. And it clearly is black's intention. If white moved the knight, he would play a5 and his worst placed piece would come into the game. This is very typical for this kind of French structure. But we also notice that white is fully developed and black is not. So this gives white a chance to create an attack. So the first move is not very difficult. It is knight g5, threatening checkmate. If black takes it, we renew the threat by h-take and open for long term for a big attack in the h-file. And also black has lost the bishop, which is most in harmony with his pawn structure. So this is not going to happen. So instead he played g6, and here comes the full point that white is now sacrificing a piece on d5. And again, black basically has to take it, otherwise what is he doing? Long term, he can always take the knight on g5 when he wants to, and long term he will just be losing a pawn if he doesn't take. So takes, he actually took on g5 first in the game, but let's say takes, and here there are two things black can do. One is he can play knight b6, which defends the rook and attacks the white queen and leads straight into a worse endgame. So here white is quite happy giving up the exchange. He has two pawns already, and the bishop is going to be very strong. It's probably going to, it's quite possible it's going to c5 and d6, or the knight is going to e4 and f6, and maybe white plays h5 at some point. So here there's many reasons to like the white position. There are not really any reasons to like the black position. So after queen takes d5, rook b8 would be the move. And here white would play e6. And now if black takes, we take with the knight, and the next move would be knight takes d8 check. That wouldn't be very good for black. So here black could of course accept that white takes on d7, and then white would be a pawn up at least, but he has one thing he can try, which is takes, and queen e7. Now, if you saw this far in your calculation, you are probably bluffing. But here, this is a good time during a game. Stop again. Very natural to miss a move like queen e7. And think about what to do. If we take on d7, black will take on e3 with check. And that will at least give him counterplay with against the f4 pawn. But here white has a much stronger move. Again, I recommend you to stop the video. So. And here all white's pieces are still ready, so it's time to strike. So rook takes h7. And here black has to take. And we give a check. And the king must go to g8. And here comes bishop d4. Now the point is, if the f-pawn goes forward to block, it is not a very good block, but also we have pawn takes knight with check. So here black has this surprising move. And now both queens hang, and black has a lot of extra pieces. So things are not over yet. Again, here it would be good to try to calculate and see what happens. So white plays check and check. And here, if black goes back, which is the only way to win the queen back, in this position, he's going to get absolutely got it. by losing everything to check. And then in the end, when the knight is gone and can no longer go to f6, we have checkmate coming. So after this rook h8 check, king f7, rook h7, black has to go to e8, and after take and check, here black would never take this bishop. The knight is keeping everything together at the moment. He would lose probably the rook on b8 very quickly. And we have a position something like here. Maybe the king should go here, I'm not sure. And here white has the advantage. But black still had the knight and 2 rooks for the queen. Very interesting position, and it probably would have been more interesting if the game had gone in this direction. So let's get back to our starting point. So we have knight g5, g6 and knight d5. And in the game, black chose to take on g5 first and then take on d5. We can see now knight b6 would be much worse because we'd simply take the queen. The bishop's no longer defending the queen. So here black played rook b8, and white has many strong moves in this position. With e6 he could transfer to the variation we had, but now actually he has more options. So he played f5 and queen e7, and here there's a thing that's very useful to know, which is that with a draw, Jorden van Foreest would win the match and qualify for the next round. So here he played a bit sloppish. So he took, and in a position like this here, white still has some advantage, but very quickly it fizzled out, and eventually the game was a draw. But if we go back to this position here, then white had the chance to take on h7, king takes, rook h1, now king g7, f6 check, so must go here. And you can go to several squares with the queen, but it makes most sense to go to c4, where you're pinning the f-pawn. And now comes queen h4, or if queen takes e5, bishop d4, check, and simply king b1. And very soon it will be checkmate on h8. So this was position of the week number 12 from the World Cup in Sochi, round 2. I hope you're having a good day, and there will be lots of chess in your day.